All right, welcome back to PC Building Simulator. This is Free Build Extreme Episode 3. You can tell it's free build because it says free build, right? Okay, we are in the Asus ROG workshop. I am your host, JVN, from JVN Gaming. I run the YouTube channel, JVN Gaming. I play a lot of PC Building Simulator. If you want to see more videos like this one, and you just can't get your fix on this channel, feel free to check out the link in the description to go check out my channel. We can play a lot more PC Building Simulator over there, as well as some other games. So feel free to come and visit. We'd love to see you. I'd love to see you, really. But today we are going to do a special fun build today in PC Building Simulator's free build because we're hot off the heels of the 1.10.5 update to the game. Like, it just came out and it's pretty cool. We got a bunch of cool stuff. We got a couple new AIOs. We got a case. We got a motherboard. We got parts. We got none of these parts are new. None of these things over here are new. We will kind of come back to these later potentially. But we did get AMD's RX 6000 series of graphics cards, and with that, well, we got. It's very exciting because it's AMD's answer to NVIDIA's 30 series of GPUs. So now we've got their 6800, the 6800 XT, and the 6900 XT, which are the answer to NVIDIA's RTX 3070, 3080, and 3090, respectively. Pretty much an answer to those things. So we're going to check out those parts, and we're going to do a build kind of like an all AMD best of everything that AMD has to offer, and we're going to build inside this case the Thermaltake View 37 RGB. I really like this case because it's got this like super cool curved tempered glass at the front, so it's going to make a really great showcase case to show off AMD's parts. So we've basically got all of the latest stuff that AMD has to offer in the game now, and so we can really put together a computer that shows the best of what they have put out for customers. So it'll be kind of fun to check out. We're going to just take a few of these things out of here. I'm going to take out that drive cage. Actually, I don't even need this bay cover. That's kind of cool. We're going to take out the back fan. We're going to remove actually the front fans as well. We're going to basically strip a lot of stuff out. I'm going to take off these drive bays, these 3.5-inch drive bays around the back to mount 3.5-inch drives, because we're not going to do that. We're going to do something a little different. We're going to do some water cooling in this. And of course, we're going to check out the 6900 XT, the top of the line new graphics card option from AMD. But before we can do that, we got to check out a motherboard. And we're going to, of course, be going with AM4 to show off the 5950X as well, kind of the best that AMD has to offer for gaming. So with that, we're going to do X570 board as really the best thing you can match that CPU with. And we're going to do one that's a little bit more of a recent addition, the MSI Prestige X570 Creation. It's an EATX motherboard, X570 chipset. Pretty cool. Looks nice. I like it. It's pretty. It's real wide. EATX. All right, let's go ahead and get a CPU put in there. Of course, I've already kind of told you what we're doing. We're doing a 5950X. I can't spell it. Type it. 5950X, 16-core, 32-thread monster. AMD is having no issues kind of owning the desktop CPU space right now, to be honest. As far as gaming goes, you really can't do a lot about it. The 5950X isn't really even necessary for gaming. You would do just fine with the 5900X, of course, or a 5800X, perhaps. I have a 5800X in real life, and it's quite good. I like it quite a bit. Let's just jump into RAM here. Let's do, I'm feeling Trident Z Royal. Let's do, it only comes in 3200 megahertz, which is a little slower than I'd like. But we're going to go with it because it's pretty, and I like it. 8 gig, 3200 megahertz. We really don't need more capacity than that. We will go ahead and do 4 DIMMs. I'm putting them in a kind of strange order, not that it matters. We're doing the silver. That also comes in gold, but look at it. It's so pretty. It's so shiny and flashy. And these new cards from AMD, we'll check them out here in a little bit, but they have kind of a black and silver with a red accent kind of. That's not it. These are also new 3090s and 3080s added from MSI in the last update. Check, those are pretty cool too. But we have this like, yeah, black and silver with a little bit of like a red accent. We'll get to see the red accent even better when we put it in the case, mounted horizontally. So we're going to kind of try to do a theme around that. So we're doing some black, we got a little bit of silver, we're going to do some red accents, which I think are going to be pretty cool as well. So we're also going to do water cooling in this computer because it's fun and I want to do it. And this is actually a pretty interesting case when it comes to water cooling. We're going to go with the thick boy, the thick with 14 Cs, the fat boy, the Ryzen Tech Calore C3060D. So it's a 360 rad and it is an absolute chonker. So you could put it in the front, which would be fine. It'd be a bit pedestrian, a bit boring. So we're going to put it in the back because we can do that. we can do it, so we're gonna do it. And the back panel of this case, I already took it off, but it has ventilation on it, so you can actually move air through that, which is really great. So this will be set up an exhaust. We'll be exhausting our hot air through the radiator, cooling off our CPU loop. And so next thing it's good to check when you're doing water cooling is make sure you can actually get a reservoir in somewhere. We're going to go with EK's RGB pump res combo. By default, if we didn't have a gigantic radiator blocking here, like if we went for a thinner front-mounted radiator, we could probably squeeze this in here. Though actually, you might have to go with an even smaller reservoir to get it down here. But luckily, we've got the option to also put it back here. So I remove that back fan. We're going to put our pump res combo up there on that rear fan mount. So we should be in good shape there. We are going to do case fans in the front just to pull in fresh air into the case. Now, exhaust could be a little tricky, but it's probably not too... Well, it'll be fine. We'll exhaust most of it out of the radiator anyway, so we'll be fine. We're going to do, just to match, to make sure I'm kind of matching my case fans with the ones on the radiator, I'm going to go with the Ryzen Tech Iris 14RBW ADD. That's a lot of acronyms that I don't know what they mean. So these are 140 mil fans. You'll see they match the ones on the radiator very well, and we can get 3 of them in the front, which are going to look really nice. The front panel of this has a pretty dark smoke on it too, so they'll be visible behind it, but they won't be super bright behind it, but they'll look pretty classy, I think. All right, so let's go ahead and get a power supply. And my one disappointment with this case maybe is that there's no power supply basement. So the power supply looks a little bit clumsy. So for that reason, since we actually can kind of see it, we're gonna do an RGB power supply. And we'll do a 1200 watt just to cover our bases. We'd probably be fine with 850 though. We might be cutting it a little close with the amount of power we're gonna be asking for in this build. So this is the RGB Plus from Thermaltake. So it does have an RGB fan there. You can just sort of see it. We'll be able to see it a little better when it's lit up, but this doesn't have a power supply basement. So we actually do get to see the power supply, which I don't love how it looks. Thermaltake could have, you know, but it's still, for the rest of the build, it looks really cool. So, all right, cool. So we will need to get a CPU block in. Before we do that, let's do our storage. We're just gonna do a couple M.2s. When I first removed this, I was like, oh my gosh, it only has one M.2 slot. I can't believe that, but it does actually have 2. The second one's just a little hard to see. So we'll go down here. I really like Patriot Viper's VP 4100 M.2 2 terabyte. This is PCIe Gen 4, which of course this motherboard and this chipset can fully take advantage of. So we will take advantage of it, I guess. So we can do 2 of them. So there's the one here that's very visible, and there's the one right there that's kind of covered by this, but it's there, and then that's it. So you have the 2 M.2s, and we can just slide that back over. It's kind of an interesting... little interesting thing there. Okay, so that's storage. We got RAM. We've got a CPU. Let's get the CPU cooled. So in order to do that, we're going to put down a little bit of thermal paste, a little globby. That's a scary amount of thermal paste. I feel like I'd want to put more, but hey, you got to resist the desire, I guess, to do more. As far as the CPU block, we've got a lot of good choices in here. Several from EK, some from AlphaCool. We've got Ryzen Techs as well. But we're going to go with Corsair, the Hydro X series. XC7 RGB, so it's an RGB CPU block. And it looks really nice in here. Fits our theme pretty well, I think. And it'll give us a little bit more of an RGB accent. You can see also I'm going with red cables on this. So the cables I have selected actually are the ribbon braided plain red. So it's actually more of like a dull red, which is what we want, because it can get like really bright and too obnoxious. But these are like a really nice touch, and they're braided, so they look a little nicer. So we're going with those. All right, I think we can get some graphics cards in here. So let's do that. Let's get some graphics cards in here. We are going to, this case does of course support a vertical mounted GPU, which is pretty cool, but you can only do 1. And we're gonna do 2 because this is the best of everything AMD has to offer. So we are going to crossfire it up today, I guess. So we're gonna go with 2 of the 6900 XT. So it should be good if we remove those slots there, and then we'll go all the way to the bottom, and we're gonna grab, no, not quite all the way minus a few spots. Okay, the 6900 XT, and we'll go 1 up here, ba-doop, and 1 right here. Beautiful. So you can see that really nice red accent, right? So this is kind of a specific look that AMD's gone for with their stock reference card designs. And this is a new design from them. It sort of takes like some I feel like some cues from the Radeon 7, if you remember that card, whoo, that expensive card that was super hot, pulled a ton of power, and was like basically maybe sort of a 2080, but more expensive. That was, of course, all aluminum. This is not all aluminum necessarily, but it has that 3-fan design. So it's funny, like, I don't know why Radeon, like, it always makes me think of Team Rocket, the R on there. Oh, I feel like with the Ryzen Tech fans too, we've like really got an R thing going in this. That was totally planned. Okay, nice. Does that look like Team Rocket? Am I crazy? I don't know. I'm just saying it. There's no bridge here. We're doing Crossfire, but AMD's multi-GPU support does not require any sort of bridge. It all happens over PCIe, which is pretty interesting. Okay, so we can get our cooling loop figured out here, and then we can pretty much start putting this back together and see how she does. So I've opted for red fittings. I really like the EK fittings. I don't like some of the, well, sorry, I don't like the angled fittings. I like their regular fittings. The angled fittings I think look clunky and chunky. I don't like them in real life. Yeah, so I always go with these, and I'm going with red because we're just doing like little red accents where we can, where it makes sense. So okay, let's go CPU to this side of the radiator. We're gonna go for clean, hard 90-degree angles. And I kind of like showing this part, even though it can be a little bit putsy. I think it's kind of fun to see how these come together. So I'm just gonna go for some like nice sharp angles. It's great because the game helps you snap these angles. You can see it's kind of assisting me to snap these perfect verticals and horizontals. So that one actually came together really easily. And then we will connect this to the output of the reservoir, I believe. And then I'm gonna come out here-ish. I'm gonna come on down here. We're gonna do some like real, oh geez. Luckily, when you do that, you can just click undo. Also, I like to use the remove corner function to take out these corners that I don't want because they're overcomplicated. Oh geez, overcomplicating what I'm trying to do. And then we should be able to find a couple angles there. And then we'll snap this out to a 90. So like, you know, pretty simple. Pretty simple, pretty clean, pretty like angular, which I kind of think like works with the bright, you know, red outlines in the graphics card. We're gonna go with red opaque coolant, so we're gonna get some more kind of that same thing going. We'll just run our last one here. We'll do a simple little out snap. Let's get that straight. Yeah. And then we'll do one like that, and then that'll give us a perfect little, you know, one of those 90, 90, 90, turn 90, I don't know. There you go. So pretty like simple loop, but I think fairly clean looking, of course. All right, so let's go ahead and fill that with coolant. And like I said, we're gonna go with opaque red. Red opaque, not UV. UV gets very bright. The red opaque is nice because it's gonna be more of that true red. See, it matches the cables really nicely. It matches the graphics cards pretty closely. Now the big challenge we're gonna have is matching this with RGB, but I think I've got a solution to get us pretty darn close, because sometimes the RGB gets super bright, and this is totally true in real life too. It's hard to match lighting to like opaque materials and whatnot. So, okay, so we can go ahead and power it on. We've got some clashing colors, but our fans match, and it looks nice. So I'm gonna get some software installed, and then we can kind of go through the RGB. We'll do a little benchmarking. We'll talk about benchmarks, and we'll see exactly how two 6900 XTs do. All right, so we've got some stuff set up here. Let's go ahead and get our RGB working. Now, of course, I would love to just go red, just like this. Oh, not breathing. We'll just go static everywhere. Now, it works really well for some parts. Like the graphics cards you can't adjust, by the way. They're not like addressable. Thanks, AMD. Even NVIDIA actually lets us address the colors on the 30 series, which is kind of amazing. But the motherboard looks great, like that nice deep cherry red. The CPU block looks great. The RAM actually works, I think, because of the weird sparkly, magical, weird textured RGB lens there on that. The side of the motherboard looks great. But the fans and the reservoir are a little bright. The front fans are bright, but that's actually good because we're gonna put that smoked glass over them. The front is very smoked. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bring a few of these down to make them all match a bit better. So we're gonna deselect. And then we're going to grab our reservoir. We're gonna grab our radiator, and maybe we'll grab the power supply. Not that it's really even very visible. Where is it? Hello, where are you? Thermal take, there you are. And let's go, we're gonna drop this to an 83. I know that looks extremely dark and weird here, but it will look pretty good there. So there you go. So that actually fits, I think, pretty nicely and matches pretty well because it's that nice deep red to match the actual red outline on the graphics card. It matches our cable. I think it looks pretty good. So, and when we put the front on, you'll see it also matches. I guess we can just do that now. It matches there very well. Also, see? Beautiful. It's wonderful. We can go around back. We can put on our backside panel. Like I said, it's vented there, so we can exhaust air through the radiator. So that's great. Now, let's get into the benchmarking part of this. So I've already run 3D Mark, and on the graphics, 23,197. Okay, 13,900 is totally standard for the 5950X. This is all stock. I did set XMP settings, but otherwise it's stock. So, how is that graphics score? 23,197. Well, let's compare it, shall we? Here's a couple 2080 Ti's running an SLI. 21,459. So it's like 2,000 points better than two 2080 Ti's. So, you know, like not groundbreaking for the card that's supposed to be the 3090 competitor. Let's compare it with a couple 3090s. So here's the build I did in the first episode of Free Build Extreme inside the Coolant Big Chungus. Two 3090s, 5950X. So very similar, just different graphics cards. And I actually changed out the RAM so that the CPU clocks, the CPU scores would match. So we'll see 13,900 still matches with the other one. 30,097 on two 3090s. Compared to, again, what, 23,197. So that has almost 7,000 points on this. Those are $1,500 GPUs in real life. These are supposed to be $1,000 GPUs in real life. Not that you can buy any of these in real life, because life is unfair and miserable. In the game, they're almost $1,700 graphics cards. So in the game and in the economics of this game, these are not a good deal, but they're cool. They're pretty, I guess. Like, they're neat. But yeah, I don't know. AMD doesn't look super good, to be honest. But so let's just put that panel back on. We'll put the little handle back on, and we'll call it good. So that is the best of what AMD has to offer. That is the 5950X 16-core CPU and two of AMD's RX 6900 XT graphics cards. And there you go. And it's all built inside the Thermaltake View 37 RGB. So there it is, the ultimate AMD build as of now. Who knows, until they bring something else, I guess. But there you go. Hopefully you guys enjoyed Free Build Extreme Episode 3. Again, I'm JVN Gaming. If you want to check me out, be sure to hit the link in the description. And either way, thank you so much for watching. If you want to see more videos of this, be sure to subscribe to the PC Building Simulator YouTube channel. And I will see you in the next episode. See ya.